GMGMCV. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. How are you, Harris?
All good, man. How about you?
Very good, very good. I have to say, you got me in some trouble last time because you played that cool introduction music before the space began, and our team lead Madrid said we've got to get that when we do our AMAs, and I couldn't figure out how to do it without maybe playing it through a different browser tab. So you've got to share your secret with me after we finish this
I
space.
I gotta be honest. I had no. I still don't know what song it was. It was just some random song that music that Twitter started playing. I had nothing to do with it. A couple of
Really?
people, yeah, a couple of people commented that the song is awesome, and I kept asking like, which song is it? Because I couldn't hear it myself for some reason. But it was just some random music that Twitter picked.
Hmm.
I
It's just some
Sadly I didn't have much to do with it.
It's just some smooth light jazz, basically pure elevator music.
Well, somebody should have Shazammed it because I have no idea what it was.
Nice, nice.
How have, how have you been? How's everyone in the team? I know things have been quite busy this month
Yeah,
since the launch.
yeah. I think we're doing really well. We held it together. We of course had the pre-sale and launch, which was July 25th and July 28th respectively. Those were obviously huge dates for us. A lot of pressure leading up to the event. There's a lot of hype around the pre-sale where we want it to perform well, not only for ourselves and the decks, but for the community. So you do feel a lot of pressure. Um, I think the launch went very, very well. We've talked about this as a team, but basically we just flipped that on switch at noon, and everything just went live. Which that was a big one. We had our fingers crossed, and so no hiccups there. So now that we've passed those two important deadlines, I think we've had a moment to regroup and then figure out, okay, now now what's the next big batch of work we have yet to do. So a lot was accomplished, but a lot still left to do. I did an AMA with one of our lead devs, Jumpman, yesterday, and he was rattling off a huge list of things he wants to do. So when you release a project like this, you never are finished or said that's it, that's the product, enjoy it. You're constantly looking for ways to make it easier for users, make it better, offer more features, and do those type of things. So that's kind of where we currently stand. Um, we had to once we had contracts for the Omni token, which is the native token of Omni Exchange, and our rewards token. We've got to do the little things that are so important that the users might not understand how much work it actually is, and that's getting your coin listed on DBank and CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko and
Yeah,
CoinTerminal.
these things nowadays after launch you have so many of like these nuances that you have to figure out that get the coin listed token listed on CoinGecko, CoinMarket, DeFi Llama, deck screener, like all of these little things you have to do, which kind of turns the first month after launch into a slow burner. Not a lot that the team can focus on the tech, on other aspects of the project because of these smaller things that you have to do. So, so far, I think everything has been going pretty well. And kudos on the launch. It went super smooth. I don't think a lot of people understand how difficult it is to launch a multi-chain DEX at like live everywhere at the same time and have zero delays and literally no hiccups at all.
It really is an accomplishment. And when I was speaking with Jump yesterday, he had mentioned something about going multi-chain and having some of these tokens not use Ethereum as the default gas, and I didn't even consider that. But there's just so much, there's so many layers to it, and so much testing needs to be done. And once you're live and you don't have those hiccups or those problems, you do breathe that huge sigh of relief. So absolutely.
Yeah, usually projects just launch on one or two chains and then slowly during the first month they try to add other chains, mostly because of the reason that you mentioned that not all EVM chains use ETH as their native token. For example, Sonic has their own, Arbitrum have their own. So there's a little bit of complexity, but just goes to show how capable and competent the technical team is uh, that you guys have. So the fact that they launched it without any delays, any hiccups, that's pretty impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh, I know we don't have Madrid or any of the tech guys with us, so we'll keep it light today. Focus on community stuff that you guys might be doing in the future. Kind of want to hear more about what are the plans with expanding, not in terms of the tech specs. I think those are still pretty best. From the user experience and the plans to onboard new users for the DEX.
Absolutely. So we had on a previous AMA that you and I had, and Madrid was on that one as well. We mentioned that we had two partners of chains that we were going to expand to. We have announced Match Chain as one of our partners, and we have a pool set up for that token in BNB. So that's one of the expansions, and we will be, I believe they're native DEX. I'd have to, don't quote me fully on that, but I think we'll be one of the very few DEXs they use, and I feel like we're going to have a really strong partnership with those guys. We do have another chain we will be expanding to, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was announced at the end of this week or very early on to the following week. As far as the other things I mentioned about getting all your online profiles and stuff filled out, which I think we've accomplished all of those type of things, now we are waiting. The big next big date for us will be August 14th at 8 a.m. and that's when all the initial rewards from the voting and everything else will go out. I would say that is when we are fully up to speed. I've used the analogy a few times now of a cruise ship pulling out of port, and for that first 2 week period from our launch, it was getting these projects on board, getting them gauges, setting up all the pools, getting people voting in the first epoch, and that sort of thing, so that we could eventually get to the point we will be on August 14th. I think this was a little bit of a different way of doing things than people that were with us from our Arbitrum days, or Swamp Mode or Base Swap, where usually on launch you see those huge APRs right out of the gate, right? It's just like when a store opens up brand new, they've got these big specials and those type of things to enhance people to come in and buy and see the store and stuff like that. We had to almost delay that gratification based on the way the project was designed and the epochs, and so that I think is reflected in the price a little bit. Once that is fully up to speed, and like I mentioned, that will be the 14th, I expect to see everything, everything start going. We've also gone and done a lot of behind the scenes things with some of our integration partners and launch partners, like Odos, hooking up to these DEX aggregators that are going to bring in that volume, which will create the fees, which of course will raise the APRs and get the whole flywheel started. So I think we've checked all those boxes. We're looking to build out our YouTube channel a little more, build out our document section a little more, make that intuitive and easy for the users to understand, because you can do a lot of complex things on Omni Exchange, and we want good documentation so people can understand these features, be able to utilize these features. And I think we've done a good job, and over the next short term and long term, I think you'll see all of that improve as well.
I think you kind of touched on an important point there that anytime you see a new DEX or DeFi project launching, you initially, like, they have that huge boost with super high, unrealistic APRs, and that's what attracts people and they jump in. We basically have a market term for it, like sticky capital and mercenary capital. So mercenary capital enters, those APRs will go down very quickly and then they leave and never return. So seeing that you guys didn't really opt for that, that's a good way of doing things. It might be slower in comparison of growing the TVL right off the gate, but it's more long lasting and will reward holders in a long term in a much better way than the other model does.
Yeah, and the our lead dev Jump, he touched on that yesterday. I asked him to rank a few things in order, and one of them was profitability, and he actually listed that third, which is I agreed with that ranking because if the DEX isn't fun to use, easy to use, intuitive, that sort of thing, even if you have those APRs, you're going to lose a whole bunch of people. And then, as you mentioned, if those APRs, once you actually start providing liquidity and they get cut by a third or even more, you feel sort of cheated and you go somewhere else again. So we've really focused on putting out a really good product here that is easy to use for not only the novice user but a more seasoned DeFi or DEX user. So I feel we've got all the tools for all types of people to be able to use. The fact that we held our token price where it was for that week while the market was dipping, I felt really positive by that, and I just know that once we get to the 14th, then we're going to see that buy pressure, and then we'll see the token appreciation. So I'm not forecasting or giving advice. I can see what we've got coming through the pipeline and how well we've done while we were still getting to the point we needed to be for it to be fully up and running. And I just see so many positives there. So the best is yet to come, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's a much safer and better way of building a protocol that lasts for a very long time in comparison to just trying to boost up the TVL from during the first week and then it slowly fades away. And those APRs that you get during the first week or so, they're quite unrealistic, and there's no way you can keep up with that for, let's say, 6 months to a year. So uh, it might be a nice boost to have in the beginning, but it doesn't last. So good to see that didn't happen this time. One thing I kind of wanted to get your opinion on, and this is, I think, mostly your area of operation within the team. Since you guys are live on 6 different chains, I'm sure you have your own user base that kind of knew you from the base swap days and your previous projects. They're your core users that are sticking with you guys right now. But operating on 6 different chains means you kind of have to tap into users within those chains. Do you guys have any specific strategy for that? I know it's maybe not something you want to work on right from the first one because you want to get every like these minor things out of the way. But what's the strategy like there? For example, how are you guys planning on tapping into Sonic Eco
Sure.
or Optimism or Avalanche?
Sure, and you're exactly right. We predominantly operated on base. Now we did have our sister deck swap mode, which was on mode, and Arbitex, which was on Arbitrum. So we do have communities on those chains, not as large as our following on base. So you're correct. We are going to focus on base, at least for the short term, because it's our main liquidity hub. We have connections with the base team and all this type of stuff that we haven't fully solidified on, let's say, Avalanche, a chain that we've never had a DEX on. I see those as big opportunities because we can grow our base community further, but then we've got room for a lot of expansion into markets that we've never touched. And that's a great way to pick up market share. And that was one of our plans going into this when we knew we were going to be multi chain. I think the biggest and fastest way to get access to those markets and those communities, so to speak, is through your partnerships. We've just released a partnership with Foxify, who we've worked with previously, and they had some of their liquidity with us on Arbidex, and they've got a big community and they've got a really loyal community. If you've ever been in their Discord, it's fun over there. So lots of partners like that that we've got working with Match Chain or someone else where we might do some cross promotion or do AMAs with them or run co-zealies with them, any type of contest to kind of expose their community to us and vice versa. Once you do that, then you hope organically that those communities become part of your community and start making content or tweets or this type of stuff that happens where they just start spreading the word about you and you pick up those community members organically. But we have a plan for a big marketing push, probably our biggest to date, which will be starting around the 14th, a little bit earlier, and then taking us into the next chain. I always feel like results are the best marketing. So if you start to see the Omni token go up 40, 50, 60, 70% and it starts making these hottest tokens of the week or trending token this or something like that, that is going to bring in a lot of people organically. They're going to feel the buzz, hear the hype, and they're going to want to be a part of it. And that's when they'll start to come over. And if you're doing a good job, you'll convert those into community members. So yeah, we've got campaigns, we've got some things, some contests, a whole bunch of things. We're going to be rolling out our ambassador program here very shortly. We got a lot of really qualified candidates that came in and applied for that. They obviously play a big role when you've got a project ambassador that can spread the word to their own community through their various social channels as well. And all these little things working together make a big difference overall.
Yeah, I think having those key partnerships are quite necessary. It creates that cross pollination that you need for your project, tapping into their existing audience, and same goes for your audience, of course. So looking really forward to that, and the growth ambassador program is another thing that I saw a lot of people are quite interested in for Omni Exchange. So hopefully that'll be a huge boost in terms of marketing. And do you guys have any system in place that'll allow you to filter the candidates during the first week or first month? Because a lot of people will apply, but in terms of output and the quality of content that they'll bring to the table, it might not be the same for everyone. So, do you have any plans or any system in place to at least filter out the loyalists who will continue to push?
Certainly, certainly. This is a job that I wish it could be done a little more automatically, but it isn't. You really have to. You've just got to grind through and just spend a lot of time looking through the candidates. I did create a Google Forms document, which I didn't have live at the beginning, and we just got hundreds of tickets come in through Discord, and a lot of the information they would provide was fractional. Some people would, give me everything, and then some people would just say, "Hi, I'm interested." So I needed a way to be able to get as much of the same information from each person as possible, so I can at least do that quick broad overview and start eliminating people. But during the lead up, and I think we've done this with previous ambassadors. I can see a bunch of them in here now, Gojen and Noro and Sammy and lots of these guys that I've known for over a year now. In the leading up to the pre-sale, you could see the people that were asking questions that you could tell really wanted to be part of the community. They were making their own content. They weren't doing this because we were offering money or whatever. they just wanted to share. They thought it was good. They were excited by it, like the team. So we've all sort of noticed those people, and the whole team will talk about it, and we'll all probably provide a few recommendations. Myself and another one of our team members, Ayush, we'll probably do the dirty work and go through all the form responses and stuff like that. But I could probably pick half of the ones we're going to choose right now because they were supporting before the position existed. Now that's not to say that the application was it was already decided, because it wasn't, but I would like to go with a almost a 50-50 mix of people that supported beforehand and probably have a smaller audience, but I could tell they really like our project and our team and they want to be part of that. And then the other 50 would probably be people that have a more of a large audience, whether that's on Twitter or YouTube or one of the other platforms. So I think that's kind of how we've done it in the past. Our previous Zealy, which was a verified one that had a prize total of, I believe, $2,000. I couldn't believe how solid the content was being created, the comments and this and just everything they were doing and sharing. We don't buy bots. We're never going to buy bots. We're not going to buy followers. So all our comments on our posts and likes and shares, those are because people want to put those there, right? So I think that that was important and we were able to identify the people, but largely that process of selecting ambassadors is just going to be going through hundreds of applications and trying to choose the right few people that will be a project ambassador for us.
Yeah, I think you and Ayush, your colleague, yeah, you guys are going to have your hands full with at least this aspect of the project. This has been a huge pain point for crypto marketing in general. I think that's why we have platforms like Kaito and Cookie.fun doing well at this stage of the cycle, because there's no easy way of figuring who to get. So for example, L1, L2 chains, bigger projects, they usually try to go to Kaito or these platforms. So they have the algorithm to filter out who they should get.
Right. And I noticed that leading up to the pre-sale of how this the marketing on that has shifted, because numbers of followers and things like that can be so easily inflated now through bots and whatnot. And an account with 500,000 followers does not necessarily mean that's a strong account. I saw accounts with 3,000 actually be a stronger presence or have a higher smart score. And so you do need metrics and tools to help kind of identify, and filter out all that noise. And going by smart score did help me a lot. And if there were people out there that they were looking to become KOLs or ambassadors or something like that, my suggestion would be get good at video and try to raise your smart score. Don't worry about your follower count. Truly take quality over quantity, and that will be better. And you mentioned that platform has been phenomenal for helping companies at least compare, 1 to 1 or something like that, instead of a year ago we probably just would have looked at follower count. Do you have a blue check mark? Wow, you're a powerful account. And now we're seeing that's not always the case.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You mentioned video format. There's not a lot of video content going around in Twitter. I mean, I'm pretty sure over 95% of creators who are specifically creating content about crypto projects, it's in one way or the other, either threads, at least the useful ones, or long form posts. But not a lot of people are doing video content. Do you think there's going to be a shift where focus will go mostly towards video content? And is that what you guys are focusing, or one of your filtering criterias for the ambassadorship program? More heavily focused on video content or just content in general?
I would love to have a super, super strong video person, right? I think that's going to be so important. I've just seen marketing change so much. 10 years ago, you would just flood the market with really good written content. You would do press releases. You would write Medium posts. You would focus on your blog and all this type of stuff. People aren't really reading right now. At least the majority. They scan headlines, they want recaps, they want this type of stuff. It's not their fault. Social media has pushed us into that short form content, be it reels or stories or YouTube shorts. We're just used to consuming a huge amount of content, but we want it quickly and get to the point, right? So I can say so much in a 30-second video and have you retain so much more of that and be able to provide you a visual element, for you to watch and see that step-by-step play. That would be a 5-page article on Medium. And on this type of stuff, you're just going to tune out after the first couple of paragraphs. So I think video is certainly an effective way to get that across. So many of us are using our phone as the main device that we use, and we're having it in that portrait mode. So quick videos that are optimized for those type of platforms, I think are a great way to reach people. We can see TikTok has had such an influence on all the just so many aspects of our life. This is a hot song on TikTok. This is a TikTok trend. Or although I'm a little older for that, I see the power of that in the younger generation. So if that's going to be how people are going to be consuming their content, then you have to make sure you're making content optimized to be able to reach those people. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and say we're just short form video. You still have to write those articles, you still have to write those threads and make those posts. But just like with the other things, the partners and stuff I talked about, you need that variety of content. Um, all working together to make that overall big change. I myself am still a reader. If I'm interested in a project, I dig deep into their articles and their documents and stuff like that because I want to know the technical stuff. I want to know how well of a job are they doing populating that stuff, because you can see a lot of good projects with good websites and then they completely fall apart in the documents, and then you can get an idea of, okay, is is this being dressed up or is there a lot here? So um, I think that because of all that and video going to be playing an important role, yes, if I was a person looking for a job in Web3, I would want to be as good in video as possible, and the tools that help them get better are just popping up almost daily. And a lot of them are free and a lot of them are powerful and they run on mobile, so be as good at video as you could possibly be.
I agree with you in terms of video being a much stronger form of content. Like you can jam pack it with so much information in a 30-second video, then if you had to write it down, it's going to be a huge threat on Twitter. At the same time, I think the issue with Twitter is algorithm is not really optimized to push video format content that much, especially when it comes to crypto crowd. Everyone is so used to reading stuff, and at this stage I don't think a lot of them read it. They just skim through stuff. If it's something catchy, they might read a few lines here and there, but I doubt like a lot of people read a thread fully. Like they might read the first two posts but then skim through the rest. So hopefully that will change. Twitter algorithm more optimized to support video content as much as they do uh, long form written content.
Mm-hmm. You just got me thinking. I wonder, because you're totally right. If there was a platform that went against everything I just said, it would be Twitter. I wonder if we
Yeah.
see a year down the road Twitter launched their own sort of shorts or something like that, right? Where they would focus exclusively on video, and people could make these short form contents, and it's almost like a separate section. So we'll see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, you can do death scrolling on Twitter too, like just flip up and you'll see a new video. But it hasn't really caught on with people. Primarily, I think because of the how used to we are with Twitter and just written content and reading it. And not just that, like tweets used to be 250 characters or something. And we're still kind of, our brains are kind of wired into that. If like the first few sentences fun, we might stay and read the whole thing. If not, then we just skim through it. So it'll take some time, definitely, for people to get used to this new X that they're calling now, and hopefully the algorithm will be a bit more optimized to include all the other types of content creation and
For
on
sure.
Twitter.
For sure.
Coming back to Omni Exchange, one of the things I think the first of all, my compliments to the front end dev. The front end looks absolutely awesome. Everything feels very smooth. Website design is amazing. Like you don't have to go through two, three different sections just to do a simple thing. It's all in front of you and very simple. And most importantly, it looks even better on your phone, on a mobile device than a computer or a laptop, which is very important to be honest, because I think a lot of people at this stage they're using their phone for doing transactions and things like that than their computer. So having a good looking user interface, especially for mobile, is very important.
Absolutely. That's something as a website designer, I would always be focusing on mobile. You know, most of your website traffic, probably 80% of it or higher, is going to come from a mobile device. So just like we talked about creating content for that, you have to create your apps and your websites and everything else to be mobile friendly, to be responsive, to still be quick, and so much of that design and the graphics you use and all that stuff has to come into play. I think Coinbase Wallet has helped with that to be able to ease that integration. I think I'm still predominantly a PC user on my desk, dual monitors, all that type of stuff. I don't do that on my mobile phone. I think that probably speaks to my age. If I was 20 years younger, 15 years younger, I would probably absolutely be 100% on my phone. Um, but yes, our devs, that was a big point of focus for them, was making it look good on mobile, but also perform, because we see the traffic. It's just going to go higher for mobile users.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Coinbase played a huge role. Same with Phantom Wallet. I mean, they made swapping and things like that so much easier on your phone that this whole new generation of crypto users, they predominantly just use their phone. I still use my computer for most of things, including doing transactions and things like that. But I think it's good to see that a project is their website is as responsive and as good looking on a mobile phone as it is on a computer. So uh,
And
my
and not
compliments to
only
the front dev.
not only are we optimizing for mobile, PC, any type of device, we're also having dark mode, light mode, and base swap supported 7 or 9 different languages, and I believe Omni does as well. So we're not just doing it for the devices; we're also trying to do it for the community. When went into a deep dive on our base swap stats and traffic and stuff like that, after the U.S., some of the biggest countries were Japan and Germany, of where our traffic was coming from, and Portugal after that. So although we're not creating as much content in those languages as we probably should, we're at least making sure that when they come to the website, they can view it in their native language. So that was another big thing of all the thought that went into Omni. You think it would be mostly on pools and flywheels and v Omni and voting and stuff, but it is the design, the optimization, the user base of where they're coming for, and just making it overall the best experience that we can provide to them. And right now Omni is the pinnacle of everything that we've designed, and it's come to this point, and we think it's leading edge, and we just think it's a great product, and we can't wait for it to be fully fired up, to have this community and the community we're hoping to attract to use it and make money on it and have fun with it and enjoy it, and not feel the need to go out there to any other project to do something else, because they've all been encompassed under Omni. So
Yeah, I think until this point, I forgot to even mention the multiple language support. That's really good to see, because almost every other website, it's just you either have to use Google Chrome or Brave to translate the website for you if you're not a native or an English speaker in general. But very few websites in crypto come with support for multiple languages. So that's a really good feature to add. It doesn't look much to an English speaker, but to someone that doesn't speak English well, yet still they want to do some DeFi stuff,
right.
having the front end in their own language, I think that helps quite a lot.
Sure. And you never know what's going to be lost in translation. It could be one word, but that word is everything. It changes the whole perception if that word is not accurately translated. So to have true multilingual support, not just a plugin doing some light translation for you, it's a big difference. And the team will always continue to look for opportunities to expand services like that, right? Since we've incorporated those ones, we'll always look to be able to give those things back to the community, and what those will be, I don't know now, but as they become apparent, and they can be included as a feature offering, then they'll be part of Omni, I'm sure.
Yeah, in the previous spaces that you guys had with the dev, I listened to it, and he mentioned that he's still focused on improving the front end and making it more responsive. And in my head, I was thinking, like, it's already super responsive. I wonder how much more could be done to it. So any changes that will be done to the front end, I'll very much look forward to it. One thing I kind of wanted to ask you about is, from your perspective, how was the market reception post launch within the community? How are people feeling about it? Happy, unhappy? Of course, there will always be like a mix of both, but um, from your perspective, how has it been so far?
I would say very well. Obviously, our community is a loyal community, so they're very supportive and all that type of stuff. I think when you launch a project, especially a crypto project, people have an expectation, and when you reach that expectation, or that expectation is met, you don't hear a lot of feedback. If you don't meet that expectation, you get a lot of feedback, right? And we were getting positive feedback from not only our launch partners, our integration partners, our community. So to me, that speaks volume. Jump mentioned it himself, and I asked him, "How do you know if you have a good project?" He goes, "When you don't, your team will let you know." And I think that holds true to this as well. We heard some things. Yeah, you could improve this, you can do this, but as far as how the launch went, the overall product, all that type of stuff, it was very, very positive. People are going to look at the price of the token, and they could have or might have expected, okay, as soon as we launch, this token is just going to shoot up. It's going to go 5x, 10x. I think that's an unrealistic expectation, or that would be not a proper gauge of success, right? I feel, Madrid feels, the team feels, the launch being successful and going on without a hiccup, That's success number one. The fact that we had so many people in our pre-sale rounds that wanted to invest with us again because they'd made money in the previous rounds, or they've stayed with us and actually become users of the DEX over these years. That's success number two, because we're retaining our community. If people don't like us, never mind not chatting in our Discord, they're just not going to use the product. And that's not what happened. So that's success number two. Success number three, the token holding where it was um, during a bit of a downturn in the market, when we weren't fully up to speed as far as farms and voting rewards and that type of thing, to stay at that price, to me, that was success number three. And then I guess the last one will be gauged on August 14th, when this stuff goes fully live, and we'll see how happy people are with rewards. But the bribes are in there, the gauges are live. I think it's going to be awesome. The traffic is picking up, so the APRs are improving as those DEX aggregators get online, and our volume is starting to increase. On the second or third day, Omni Exchange had already surpassed Base Swap as the fourth or fifth largest volume DEX on Base, and we had Omni and Base in the top six DEXs already. Like that's pretty successful right there. So I've seen it. I've seen a lot of successes. Yes, I want the token price to be higher. People are going to gauge our product off the token price, and I have zero doubt that that is going to be there. And then we'll have done all the behind the scenes stuff that we talked about earlier, and we can just focus on building those pools, building that POL, making more fees, and streaming those fees back to the community through rewards or APRs. So I think we're batting pretty good. 3 for 4 for the day, and we've still got our home run in us, and that's going to be very soon.
Yeah, I think being ranked higher among the DEXs on base is a very big thing. I think base and Solana might be two of the biggest change that will two of the biggest chains that will onboard a lot of normies once we hit that phase of the cycle where a lot more normies will try to enter crypto. Base and Solana might be front runners there. I mean, you can already see the results on Base with Sora, and now that they're working on Base app, those are going to be a huge boost. So being a DEX ranked very high in Base, having that loyalist group of people that followed you guys during your Base swap days, and still having them with you on Omni, that's going to be a very huge boost, and it'll definitely help push the exchange reach a higher ranking.
Yeah, and we've got a few things that cards that we can play with Omni that we couldn't with Base Swap, and we talk about the that initial volume on Omni saw compared to Base Swap, where it was able to leapfrog it. Base Swap had every DEX aggregator known to man it was connected to, and at that time Omni might have only had one or two, and it was still able to do that. So that to me is super encouraging. The second thing is the base itself, or the team at base, was never able to give us the full support that they wanted to, and it came down to just the simplest thing as us having base in our name. I think Madrid might have touched on this before, but we weren't able to get a lot of those retweets or stuff that some of the other projects were getting from base because of the confusion, and I think that basically came down to their legal team, but whatever. We've already seen more support from Base for Omni than I saw in 6 or 8 months of Base Swap. So moving forward, that's going to be a big thing. If we could do stuff early on that Base app, and get a mini app in there, or some type of integration into that, like you said, Base has done a wonderful job of onboarding users, whether it's through on-chain Summer, the Coinbase wallet, and now the Base app. We love Base. Base is the place. I think you're right on your two picks. And now that we are established, it's so much easier for us to just upscale and take on those additional users or traffic than see all that traffic and then try to act on it and build a DEX and try to capture it, because that's going to be a lot harder than just increasing your overall market share of the users that base on boards, we on board, anybody else on boards.
Yeah, you mentioned a very important thing, like being super early with integrations into base app. I think that's going to be a very key differentiator between successful DEXs on base and unsuccessful DEXs on base. So really looking forward to it. Hopefully that gets done very quickly. Uh, I think we've been running for nearly an hour. It's funny how time flies so
It
quickly.
does. It does. I
Yeah,
could
it feels like 10 minutes.
yeah, I could talk all day about features, but I fully agree. Short spaces, they perform well. I was putting the video on YouTube and it was 55 minutes for my previous ANA, and I just thought, wow. One of the other things that I probably should have mentioned in cards that Omni can play that base swap couldn't was the protocol own liquidity, right? That's going to be a big one for us as well. We're going to be able to capture so much of those fees and give those back to the users. We've already done $5,000 worth of buybacks and increasing that POL. So once this thing gets ramped up and the flywheel is in full swing, that's just going to be a monster. So a lot of good things to look forward to. I certainly appreciate the our community following us around and joining all these AMAs. I really appreciate your support, Harris, and inviting us to come on and giving us the time to talk Omni, and I can tell that you really looked into our project and you like it, and we appreciate that. And it's just a really exciting time. Let's get this market ramped up. Let's see these coins pumping and Omni in full swing. It's going to be a special thing, and we're pumped.
Likewise, man. Since the first day I read the docs and the vision that you guys had for the project, been a fan since then. And now seeing how everything's going post launch, that's just more conviction for me. And a lot of good things, as you mentioned, you guys are working on that's gonna come up. Some of them this month, and then in September. So really looking forward to those. July 14th, August 14, you mentioned is going to be a big day. Looking forward to that as well. And you guys are welcome to hop on a spaces with me anytime you want. It's fun
Oh,
to talk to
we
you,
we
fun to talk
appreciate
to
it.
Madrid. Likewise, man.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and we are gonna take you up on that offer.
Of course,
Yeah,
anytime, as long as we can
absolutely.
do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks
Call
so
me.
much. Thanks so much for having
Likewise,
us
man.
on, my friend.
Likewise. Very much enjoyed it. Hopefully, we'll do it again very soon. Till then, wish you all the best. Looking forward to all the updates.
All right. Thank you. Bye now, everyone.